Hello everyone, and welcome to my evaluation on Rinoa Zx, the newest character that will be arriving to the DFFOO global game very soon. So I've been thinking about doing another evaluation on a character for quite a while now, and Rinoa really kind of stood out to me because of how interesting I think her kit is in this game. So I wanted to go over her and give you guys an idea of what she does, and if you think maybe you should pull on her. I also have a very, very special guest later on in the video, so we'll present him when the time comes. And if you liked the thumbnail of the video that was done by commission by a very, very talented artist friend of mine, and I will have her information at the end of the video as well, if you guys would potentially like to contact her for commissions or to just check her artwork out. Without any further ado, though, let's get started. So Rinoa Zx is going to be the green crystal color, so you're going to want to stock up on those if you want to awaken her. So her abilities, these are the basic form of her abilities. Her Angelo Cannon is a one-range single-target brave attack and HP attack, and she grants to herself Angelo Recover for 3 turns and cancels Angel Wing form. So her Angelo Recover form is a self-brave regen by 20% int brave and HP regen by 10% of her max HP. Also, while Angelo Recover is active, it changes her Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus Angelo, and changes HP Attack to HP Attack Plus Angelo. So there's going to be a lot of things in parentheses like Angelo or Angel Wing. It's basically just a way of saying that when she's in that form, she'll have that version of the attack. So try not to get confused. I'll try and keep it I'll try to help you guys out as much as I can along the way. So her Brave Attack Plus, while in Angelo form, is a one-range single-target Brave Attack with 120% potency, and heals the party's Brave by 40% of the user's attack. Her HP Attack Plus Angelo form heals her own Brave by 10% of her max Brave, and is a single-target HP attack. So her second ability is Angel Wing. This activates Angel Wing form for 3 turns and cancels her Angelo Recover. So, Angel Wing increases her own max Brave by 60% and her own attack by 80%, while also decreasing her own defense by 80%. So this is Rinoa's kit in a nutshell. She is the ultimate definition of a glass cannon. Just by using her second ability for 3 turns, she immediately increases her max Brave by 60% and her attack by 80%. So now she's capable of doing absolutely colossal damage just before any buffs of any sort. But she also decreases her defense by 80%. There's no action delay on the ability, and it won't be counted towards turn count except during the summon, and if you're using her as a support. While in Angel Wing form, it changes her Brave Attack to Brave Attack Plus Angel Wing, and changes her HP Attack to HP Attack Plus Angel Wing. So what do those do? Well, Brave Attack Plus Angel Wing is a 5-hit magic single-target Brave Attack with 150% total potency, and it consumes 10% of her current HP. HP Attack Plus Angel Wing is a 3-hit magic single-target Brave Attack and HP Attack, 120% total potency, and consumes 20% of her current HP. So on top of being a glass cannon, Rinoa also, to help offset the incredible offensive power, has some Dark Knight-esque abilities. And what I mean by that is, when she uses an ability, when she's in Angel Wing form, it sucks her HP. So you do have to be careful when you're using her. If you're not pairing her with a healer or a tank or something along those lines, you have to be careful not to get too spam happy with her Angel Wing abilities, because if you do, especially in Cosmos difficulty, boss's Int Brave is going to be pretty much right around her maximum HP value, because Rinoa has a pretty low HP base, and if you're just spamming abilities, then she's pretty much going to be always in kill range, so you got to be careful about that. So those are her basic abilities. So let's move on to her weapon passive. So her 15 CP increases her Angelo Cannon total potency by 60%, so 200% total. Increases potency of Angelo Recover and extends the duration of 5 turns. Her Brave Regen is increased by 20%, so 40% of her Int Brave. And her HP Regen is increased by 10%, so 20% max HP. Brave Attack Plus Angelo increases the potency of Party Brave Heal by 30%, so 70% of her attack. And her HP Attack Plus Angelo increases the potency of Self Brave Heal by 10%, so 20% of her max Brave. So her Angelo Recover, her ability to heal herself, all these things get a nice boost with the 15 CP and help her stay on her feet longer. Her 35 CP now grants to herself an attack up 30% and a max brave up 30% for 8 turns upon using Angel Wing. It also increases the potency of her Brave Attack Plus Angel Wing by 50% for 200% total, and increases the potency of her HP Attack Plus by 120%, so 240% total, and now deals 50% HP splash damage to other targets. I don't think I need to put into words how good this 35 CP is, but I'll do it anyway. It's absolutely incredible. It doubles the potency of her HP Attack Plus while on Angel Wing, and now with this 50% splash damage, she is an absolute monster on early waves. She is... You guys remember, if you were playing back then, how good Squall was when he was first awakened, and how Renzo spam would just completely just destroy mob waves? Yeah, Rinoa does that, but even better. She's absurd. So, her EX weapon is Angel Wing Meteor. It activates Angel Wing form for 3 turns and cancels Angelo Recover. It's a 3-hit magic random brave attack. So what does that mean? That means that so say there's 3 enemies, A, B, and C. The 3-hit random magic brave attack means it could hit A once, and then it could then hit B, and then it could go back to A. Or, for example, it could hit B, and then A, and then C. There's really no way to tell which way it's going to do, or what targets it's going to hit. But anyway, it's a 3-hit magic random brave attack and AoE HP attack executed 3 times, so for 1080% potency total. HP damage is split evenly amongst multiple targets, and it's slow charging. So, while it's not super reliable as a shaver, the fact that it happens 3 times, so it does 3 brave hits, then HP, 3 brave hits HP, 3 brave hits HP, pretty much guarantees that you'll hit everyone at least once, if not more than that. And if you use it against a single target, it's just going to melt HP. 1080% potency is just absolutely absurd. And yeah, she's just capable of wrecking face. To help compensate for it, it is a slow charging EX. So at Limit Break 1 out of 3, Angel Wing Meteor Power-Up increases brave damage dealt by Angel Wing Meteor by 10%. At EX level 2 out of 3 is Angel Wing Meteor Buff Plus. So now upon using the EX, she grants herself an attack up 60% and a max brave up 60% for 8 turns. That's already on top of her 60% max brave and her 80% attack buffs just by going into Angel Wing. And then at 3 out of 3 EX, it is Angel Wing Meteor Recast Up, increases the recast speed of Angel Wing Meteor by 20%. So with it being a slow charger, that 20% does help it get off a little bit more frequently. So the crystal passes of her. So at Crystal 5, we have Angelo Cannon Power Up. It's a 10% increase of brave damage dealt by Angelo Cannon. At Crystal 10, it is Chase Bonus, 20% extra brave damage during chase. At Crystal 15, it is Receive Heal Up, increase HP recovered by 10%. At Crystal 25 is Angel Wing Attack Up, increase attack by 10% for 1 turn after using Angel Wing. And Crystal 30 is Critical Power Up, increase brave damage dealt by 10% when dealing a critical hit. Crystal 35 is Angelo Cannon Charge, it adds an extra skill use to Angelo Cannon. Crystal 40 is Tenacious Girl, when overhealing, convert excess to Own Brave for up to 150% Int Brave. Crystal 45 is Angel Wing Charge, as skill use +1. And at Crystal 50, Forest Owl's Leader, increase brave damage dealt by Brave Attack Plus both versions, and HP Attack Plus Angel Wing by 10%. Potency can be boosted through artifacts. So her C50 is interesting because, as mentioned, it can be boosted through artifacts. And it boosts the Brave Attack Plus of both forms, and then the HP Attack Plus of her Angel Wing form. So there's an interesting argument to be made for stacking up on those, because it's just going to be making her HP attack plus, which you'll be using majority of the time she's in, just do crazy amounts of damage. So definitely worth consideration. So, her Awakening passes at Crystal 54, it's buff attack and boost all. Increase party's attack and max brave by 20% while buffed. Crystal 55 is Angelo Cannon Extend, so it adds 2 skill uses to Angelo Cannon. Increases the brave kit count to 3 and increases total potency by 40%. Allows max brave overflow for up to 120%. And heals own HP based on HP damage dealt for up to 20% of the user's max HP. So this is really nice now to where, say you're not running her with a healer, or if you are, but the healer just isn't healing quick enough, then, you know, you can switch out of her Angel Wing form with her Angel Cannon and basically like brute force a heal on herself. It's up to 20% of her HP based on the damage dealt. So really nice having a way to just kind of like hit the emergency eject button and heal herself up. So it also boosts her Brave Attack plus Angelo by 30%, and her HP Attack plus Angelo gets a potency increase via Max Brave by 10%. So her Crystal 58 passive is Buff Boost and Speed Up, increases own Max Brave by 40% and speed a medium amount. Crystal 60 is Angel Wing Extend. Angel Wing heals own Brave by 100% user's Imp Brave. It also boosts her Brave Attack plus Angel Wing potency by 100% and increases her HP Attack plus Angel Wing potency by 120%. So that now, with her Crystal 60, with her CP 35, all her passives, she is hitting at 360% potency on her HP Attack plus. Absolutely absurd number. It's pretty insane. So the recommended artifacts for her are Max Brave 330, Attack 108, and Forest Owl's Leader 2-star. Forest Owl's Leader 2-star, of course, is what I mentioned earlier. The Crystal 50 passive of hers, where it boosts her Brave Attack plus and her HP Attack plus damage by 10%. So I'm really torn on her artifacts because I really feel like she needs more Max Brave space because the amount of face that she absolutely wrecks. But having extra attack, of course, never hurts on a DPS or DPT, I suppose, in this game. So I really feel you can go any way with her, and you know, you're not going to be really losing anything. But yeah, so with all that said, you know, having the potencies and the information in front of you like this is really nice, you know, having all the numbers and all that. But sometimes it's just nice to see things play out on the screen in front of you and have a visual and know kind of what to expect. So with that being said, I would like to introduce you all to a man I'm sure many of you know and are familiar with. He graciously accepted my offer to work on this collab with me, this evaluation, and I'm just so grateful and excited to have him on board. So I hope you guys hope you guys are as hyped as I am. For 40, the Broadway Sam, he's going to show you guys some gameplay. And then at the end of the video, then him and I are going to have a discussion about some things to conclude the video. So without any further ado, 40, take it away. And guys, please enjoy. Thank you very much for listening to my portion.
Hey guys, so this is the Broadway Sand. First of all, thank you so much to Seoul DFFOO for doing this amazing collaboration for the upcoming Rinoa event hitting global very, very soon. Thank you so much. Be sure to check him out. He is an amazing guy, an amazing YouTuber for the Dissidia Opera Omnia community. So for part 2 of this Rinoa collaboration, I'm actually going to be going over the boss fight for the Rinoa event. We're going to be going up against something called the Swarmfly, and this boss also has 2 ads that accompany it called Small Swarmfly. So the way that this boss fight works is, first of all, they like to use wind attacks. They also can inflict poison, they can inflict speed down and turn rate down, and they also do possess abilities where their turn rate is increased if they are inflicting break or are already attacking a target inflicted with break. So you want to watch out for that. As far as elemental resistances and weaknesses, they don't have any. They also don't resist or are weak to any type of attack type, so kind of makes it a little bit more manageable. normal. They have the standard chase HP value of 40. And some of the things that you really want to watch out for this fight is an ability called Moss Bite, where they inflict a melee brave attack. They grant brave to their allies, and they also restore their HP. And then the main Swarmfly, what it likes to do is something called Rallying Cry, where it actually summons the adds if you take the adds out, and it also increases the statistics of its adds, especially while it's in its angry state. So you want to watch out for that. And when it is in its angry state, you can tell because essentially you see like this red aura. It raises its own statistics, so be careful for that. A strategy that you could potentially do for this fight for the global version of the game is you could immediately take out the adds and make sure that you already have summon up, and then if you're running double Quistis, for example, you're running Quistis and then afterwards you have a friend Quistis unit support, you could summon, so then that way you take advantage of delaying the boss as much as you can, so then that way once the summon finishes, if you didn't happen to finish it off then, it's gonna still be so delayed that, you know, it's gonna be a while until it actually brings its adds back. So something to note, but we're gonna go ahead and tackle it. I am gonna be taking Rinoa, I'm gonna be taking Irvine and Squall. Remember, these characters already receive their reworks and EX pluses and things like that because this is a showcase from the JP version of the game. But then again, this is just to give you guys a visual for what's to come for the Rinoa event as far as this boss fight. And we are going to be taking a friend Irvine with his EX plus, so it's going to be kind of a treat to see this in action. Alright, so we're going to start off with Irvine here. Remember, this is his reworked version, so very exciting, especially for those of you that are Irvine fans. These characters do get better. Alright, so basic wave of mobs. Since this is the Lost Chapters level 100 version, this may not be some of the enemies that we will be fighting for the actual character event, but again, this is just to give you guys a visual representation for the boss fight. Alright, I'm actually going to be saving her angel wings. I'm just going to rely on her trusty dog Angelo to do the job here. And because the boss likes to summon adds, something that you could note is being able to take AoE wave clears. So like taking Golbez and Rinoa would actually be really, really good for this particular boss fight when you're up against the Swarmflies. But for now, we're going to be dealing with these angry birds. Alright, one more wave, and then we get to see the boss in action. I'm actually going to just go ahead and save that EX for the actual boss fight. Alright, and here we go. So hopefully we don't kill them too fast, because I want you guys to be able to see what the boss can do. But there it is, the Swarmfly. So there's its two adds. So we're now going to go ahead and go into Angel stance, or Angel Wing stance with Rinoa. And then just start spamming away her HP attacks. Let's go ahead and actually use the EX. And then with Irvine, we're just going to go ahead and break the entire line of enemies there. And then, let's see. Alright, so Rinoa's being targeted. Alright, so it looks like Irvine is inflicted with poison, so gotta be careful there. The adds are going to be going down soon. I'm going to let Irvine take care of those. There we go. Alright, so now it's pissed off because we took out its adds. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and use Solid Barrel. We kind of saw what the boss already does, so what I'm going to actually do here is bring in the friend Irvine, just so you guys get to see this. We're going to go ahead and summon here. And let's check out Irvine's EX. So again, Irvine doesn't have this yet in Global, but he does have it in JP, which is pretty cool. Definitely very reminiscent of his Limit Break from Final Fantasy VIII. I love it. Can't wait till Irvine gets this in Global. So again, like I was saying earlier, an alternative strategy that you can do is take a Quistis friend and take a double Quistis, take 2 Quistises, and then essentially just delay the boss during this phase. But because, you know, I want to use the synergy characters for this visual showcase, why not, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and save those AoE abilities. He's not quite dead yet, but we've dealt a significant amount of damage. Okay, so now he's even more pissed off, so we gotta be careful here. So he's probably going to go ahead and summon his ads, or not. Okay, we're safe so far. All right, we get to see Irvine's EX again. All right, here we go. Okay, so he is going to summon the ads here. So he's bringing them back. There we go. Ooh, we got the launch off. Nice. We're actually, let's see. Since we're at risk of getting, I don't want that whole increased turn rate to trigger, so I'm gonna actually keep Squall's Brave up. Okay, there we go. Phew! Alright. Alright, so we're gonna take out the ads again. Let's go ahead and just pop Angel Wings again. And I have to say, this boss, really looks like a moth to me. I don't know why it's called Swarmfly. And the official like enemy typing is actually it's actually considered a bat type enemy, which is very, very, very interesting enemy typing logic there for Dissidia. Actually kind of looks like Mothra to me. Alright, so that is the boss fight right there. Hopefully that was a pretty good visual representation showcase for what we're going to be seeing when this event actually comes out for Global. So now we're going to be moving on to part 3 of this collaboration between myself and Seoul DFFOO. We're going to be going deeper into the character of Rinoa itself, kind of giving you guys our opinion of her, and also comparing her to some of the other good characters that we already have in the global version of the game. So let's go ahead and move forward to that.
Alright guys, so what you just saw was 40 doing his thing, showing off some gameplay of her, seeing her abilities in use, and then her moth boss as well. But at this section, him and I kind of wanted to do a discussion where we talk about some things that might not have happened in either of our parts, some kind of under the hood things that we think are pretty important, and then we'll help you guys make a more informed decision. So without any further ado, 40, if you'd like to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about doing here, and we'll go from there.
So hey guys, mahal everyone, as you guys know I like to say. I'm super blessed and really thrilled that Seoul DFFOO and I can do this collaboration together for undoubtedly one of the most anticipated characters in Opera Omnia. Very gracious for Seoul DFFOO for all that he does for the community. Be sure to show him a lot of love. He's doing a lot, guys, and I'm very grateful that he has me to be able to talk about Rinoa, let you guys know how she works, and also whether or not you should be pulling for this banner, because the character is quite powerful. But then again, the whole power creep, we all know that in every gacha game that we play, power creep is a thing. But Rinoa, with as powerful as she is, you know, is she worth it or is she not? And what kind of team comps are we going to use? How does she compare to other characters? You know, when does her banner repeat? Things like that. So again, thank you to Seoul for having me on this. Super excited to be a part of this collaboration.
No, honestly, man, hey, it's my pleasure. You know, just super thrilled you're here and very humbled. But you mentioned a little bit earlier that the comps she excels in. So I think first and foremost, one thing to say about Rinoa is that she's not a plug-and-play character like, let's say, Golbez, right? Golbez in Global right now, if you have a Golbez, or if you use the support character Golbez, you pick his EX and he's immediately throwing meteors down and dropping 50,000 damage and then constantly glare hand or whatever. Rinoa can do pretty comparable damage to Golbez, if not more. The thing is, she's a very technical character. You can't just stick her in a party comp and just go to town because she has the Dark Knight-esque mechanic where she drains HP. So I think it's a good idea for us to talk about units that she's going to fit in well with. And right away off the bat, 40, I think her best friend in crime is Lena. That regen, man. You just did a Lena evaluation, so if you just want to touch upon some quick points about her and why they work so well together, it might be a good idea.
Yes, absolutely. Lena, who just recently got her awakening on Global, is undoubtedly one of the best partners for Rinoa, specifically because you get that HP regen. And her HP regen, provided that you actually have, the weapon passives available for her, as well as the crystal passives, that's available with her awakening, that's 20% of your max HP that you're regenning per turn. And the thing about Rinoa is that she is at her best when she's utilizing her Angel Wing ability. So she has this ability where essentially she goes into a different stance, right? And then her brave attacks and her HP attacks convert into their plus versions. And their damage potencies are pretty high, where her HP attack plus is at 360%, and then her brave attack plus is at 300%. I mean, you're gonna be spamming that HP attack plus like hotcakes, right? And it also has an overflow of 150%, which is nuts. But the problem is like what Soul mentioned, she suffers from the Dark Knight-esque type of HP drainage that Dark Knight Cecil does. So every time she uses one of these abilities under Angel Wing, she's slowly draining her health. Well, if you have somebody like Lena with that HP regen, 20% of max HP, regenerating her HP per turn, it kind of alleviates that whole, oh, I'm draining my HP. And to top it off, her HP attack plus under Angel Wing deals 50% splash damage, and even if it's splash damage, it's still damage. So if you're up against like multiple enemies or multiple bosses, let's say like if there's a boss where there's 2 copies of the boss, you're still dealing damage to that other boss. So this is the reason why she's so good, but at the same time, why you want to run somebody like Lena with her. And then there's some other great units that actually recover HP in the event that let's say you guys didn't get a chance to pull for Lena, you didn't get to build her. So Soul, what other units do you think would be great substitutes for Lena? The first one that comes to the mind is Selphie. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, no, Selphie. I think Selphie, she slipped a little bit because when she first released, Selphie was the go-to healer, the go-to support. Even now, I think she gets a little less credit than she deserves because of how her wall ability, reduces damage, which will help because when Rinoa's in Angel Wings, of course, she gets that massive 80% defense reduction. So wall will help mitigate some of that damage, while also using Drain will then be able to burst heal Rinoa up. So granted, Selphie cannot give an HP regen, but with the Drain constantly, burst healing, it kind of gets around that issue a little bit. Someone else I think is a really good teammate is Eiko. Of course, Eiko, the original HP regen healer. She has, what is it? With her 15 CP, is it 12 turn HP regen, 40?
Yeah, it's about 12 turns if you have it with her HP regen. So while not as powerful as Lena's, it does last longer. So if you're lacking a Lena, you have Eiko, who's not a bad choice. And also, the thing about Eiko is she is somewhat efficient because she could deal HP damage as long as you have her awakened after she uses either one of her abilities. So then that way, she's not just wasting turns battering the party or buffing the party. She actually has a potential to be able to deal HP damage after the usage of her abilities, provided that you meet the requirements for it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think right off the top of my head, I think Selphie and Eiko would be good teammates for her. But anyway, just pretty much anyone that can lay an HP regen effect will be Rinoa's friend, because Rinoa will be constantly, if you're using Rinoa efficiently, to her maximum efficiency, she's going to be using that HP attack plus every turn. She's going to be draining HP. So having a way to counteract that every single turn is definitely a good idea. Now, healers are nice, but also moving forward into Cosmos, there are some other ways to protect her as well. And one of those ways are tanks. Provoke, being able to make bosses, instead of annihilating Rinoa with a huge Brave HP attack, you provoke the boss. Now we're talking about here Snow, the Goat himself after level 70, Warrior of Light. Both of those units can provoke, or Golef even. Golef's like the guy in the shadows here, but he can do some damage too in the right situation. But being able to protect Rinoa from being targeted or outright hit, I think, is a huge thing. But something you do have to worry about are bosses that spam AoE attacks, because tanks, aside from wall, tanks aren't going to be able to kind of block those AoEs and Rinoa getting smacked around.
Definitely she does need a tank, especially, let's say, if you're, again, going back to a character like Lena, who can support Rinoa very well. I think if a player does not have the resources to build up Lena, or didn't even pull for her gear, I think if they decide to use Rinoa and they pull for Rinoa, having a tank could, I guess, help her survive a little bit longer. But like you said, you have to watch out for those AoE attacks. So essentially what I'm thinking, if I'm a player that doesn't have Lena, but I still want to use Rinoa because I pulled for her gear, I want to have, let's say, Rinoa, and then I would have a tank, and I would have one of the healers that we mentioned outside of Lena. So for example, Eiko, for example, Selphie. Even, I was just thinking about it, Maria is actually a pretty decent healer herself, who could definitely support Rinoa in these type of situations where we're concerned about her health, because, you know, she constantly drains her health every time she's in Angel stance, whenever she's using those abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Maria, shoot, I completely forgot about her, but yeah, Maria's not half bad healer either. And I know there's some names that we're missing off the top of our head, but something else, another name to keep in mind is Zach as well. Zach will be debuting in Global in probably a month and a half-ish. I'm not entirely sure on the timing, but he can provoke and do a lot of things as well, and Zach's a super popular character, so Zach could be a good complement to Rinoa as well.
Yes, he is. And I know we're talking about Rinoa, but guys, don't sleep on Zach's Awakening. He is really good when he first comes out with his Awakening, so definitely a really good partner for Rinoa as far as team comp goes.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Zach upon that Awaken, it's pretty insane. That EX is really good too. But so speaking of EXs, I think it would be a good idea to let's talk about her banner itself, 40. So of course Rinoa is on the banner. She has all of her weapons, 15, 35, and EX. Her two partners, however, are understandably giving players a little bit of concern. So one of them is Squall. He has his 15 and 35 available, no EX. And then every banner has a character that has to drag it down, right? Because you have the really good character everyone wants, and then you have the character that not a whole lot of people want. And the character on this banner is Irvin, and Irvin is noteworthy because he's kind of the butt of the joke right now in Global in terms of his use.
Yeah, so obviously Rinoa is the prize. And then you have Squall. The thing about Squall, if you're a brand new player starting off in Upper Omnia, Squall will be your god tier up until a certain point with the content that we have, because he's amazing for trash clearing because of his Renzokuken Plus. Again, remember, you do need his passives for that, level 60 and his CP 35. But if you pull for Squall's gear and you are a brand new player, rejoice, because he can actually carry you through some of the content. Irvine, okay, one thing that gives him saving grace outside of he can also deal with trash mobs themselves is he can pair well with characters that rely on range attacks, because remember, he does have that ranged imperil debuff. So if you're using a completely ranged party, which actually I'm thinking about it right now, but Rinoa herself in her Angelo stance actually uses ranged attacks over magic brave attacks. So Irvine can complement that. So if you build like a ranged comp, he could technically help that out. But Irvine definitely will fall off a lot quicker than Squall would. So yeah, this is the danger of pulling on this banner, only because you have a character who is essentially god tier up until a certain point, and then a character who currently right now, until he actually gets his rework or 70, is kind of, he's benched a little bit, you know? Yeah, absolutely. Irvin does have the range resist down, like you said, which can pair well with some characters like Noctis.
We'll be getting Noctis's Lost Chapter here in a few months. I know a lot of people are excited about that missed him the first time around. But as a whole, Irvine just he doesn't hold up. He's pretty close to the bottom. I actually think this is a pretty decent banner. If you're a player and you've been thinking about re-rolling, I think we're actually neck deep 40 and a good time to re-roll, because you have Linna's banner active right now. You have Rinoa's banner is going to be active and I think that's a good banner to re-roll for, because Rinoa is God tier. She's really, really good, can melt HP. Squall, if you're a new player, like you said, he has to be awakened fully. He has to have his 35. But man, he's going to be doing some damage. And then Irvine, yeah, he's not great, but Squall and Rinoa for a newer player would be really, really good. And then, of course, early next month, we're going to be seeing Sephiroth. And Sephiroth is a fan favorite. A lot of people are hyped about him. So that might be something to think about, if you're thinking about starting the game up for the first time, or if you're just thinking about, I'm really not happy with my account, maybe a reroll's in the works. This could be a good time to do so.
Definitely a good time to reroll for players that are unhappy with their accounts because of who's on the banner, and also who will currently still be featured upon the release of this banner. And let's not forget, we're still waiting for Summer Part 2, which Summer Part 2 should be featuring the reworks, if they follow the JP schedule, for Cloud and Firion, which would also definitely be helping out players either just starting out the game or if they're deciding to re-roll their accounts.
Oh, no doubt. I personally, I don't even have his EX, but I am super, super excited for Cloud's rework. Cloud's rework propels him into top tier status. It's absolutely brilliant. And Firion's rework isn't bad either. It's pretty good too. So yeah, I think we're neck deep in a great time. And the nice thing about that Summer Banner Part 2, of course, you get the free draw right off the bat. So even if you get some bad luck, it's still a free draw. And if you reroll your account, here you go, another free draw. But so we've talked about the banner and we've talked about that comp she does well in, but I think something very important that we should discuss, in my comment section in particular, I've seen people mentioning, hey, I have Golbez, is Rinoa a must pull? Or hey, I drew Golbez as EX, I'm gonna skip Rinoa. And so I think the Rinoa versus Golbez dynamic is really interesting and something we should talk upon. Sure.
I think it's definitely an interesting topic. Obviously, on paper, if you have them with all their gear, Rinoa edges, because let's take a look at it. So Rinoa compared to Golbez, again, let's say you pull for all their gear, right? Rinoa is better. First of all, she is non-elemental. Every single one of Golbez's abilities has the dark element attached. So if you're up against a boss that resists dark or absorbs dark, Golbez's usability is, despite the amount of damage that he does, is kind of, it's diminished for sure. With Rinoa, it's non-elemental, so you don't have to worry about that. Second of all, when Rinoa goes into Angel Wings, what happens? Her Brave attack and her HP attack changes to their plus versions, which is essentially what you're going to be spamming in Angel Wings. So what does that mean? Longevity. It prolongs her longevity. She's saving her abilities, right? Because you're using her base abilities with their upgraded versions. Now, the one thing that I will give Golbez over Rinoa is at least he has an Imperil. So he has a way to be able to dish out more of that dark damage, again, provided that the enemies you're up against don't resist or don't absorb dark. And second of all, one thing about Golbez that I like is that his base, the damage potencies of his abilities is actually higher than Rinoa's. So while Rinoa, in a sense, out-damages him, his base damage is actually a little bit higher, because if you take a look at it, his Rising Wave with all the passives is at 440% plus the overflow, and then his Glare Hand with all the passives, it's at 280%, but remember, it deals at 1.6 times additional damage against a single target. So his base damage is actually higher, but Rinoa overall is still better than him. But what I tell players is that if you're going to pull for both of these characters, and this is what I did when I played the JP version, because I'm still playing the JP version of the game, I used both of them because they both dealt massive amounts of damage. And unless I was up against a boss that was resistant or absorb dark, I would use both of them, because why would I not want to use both of them? It doesn't just, like, I don't understand why players say, oh, Golbez gets benched because Rinoa's coming out. I'm like, well, he doesn't really get benched. He's still really amazing. It's just Rinoa just happens to be better. But if you have both of them, at your disposal, why not just use both of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. Yeah, the thing, people always like to put things in order, right? They always like to say, okay, this character beats this character, and then this character beats this character. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing where it was Kuja debuted, and then Kuja then gets pretty much benched, quote unquote, by Golbez, and then Golbez then immediately gets benched by Rinoa. And I think the word bench is far too harsh, because it's not like Kuja in a 2-week span, went from really, really good to totally garbage, right? Everyone is still very usable. There is some overlap, right? I will say that there is overlap. So if you're versing an enemy that has, like a magic resist, of course, then you're not going to be able to bring more than one of those characters, if you even bring one of them at all. Chances are you're going to want to bring just a totally different unit anyway. So there is a little bit of overlap, and if you're low on gems or resources, then I can totally understand, trying to figure out who's the better option between, say, Golbez and Rinoa. And it's very, very important to note, like you mentioned, that Rinoa, if she's going at peak efficiency, she's going to use Angel Wings right off the bat, and then she's just going to start HP attack plussing. And the thing about that HP attack plus, of course, is that it is, as long as Angel Wings is active, it's infinite use. Golbez, as strong as he is, he has a very finite, number of ability use, right? He's got the EX, of course, but he will, there's no doubt about it, will run out of steam. And if all things are equal, he'll run out of steam far sooner than Rinoa. And with us right on the verge of Cosmos stages, where Cosmos isn't, I like to think of Cosmos stages as not really a race, right? It's more like a marathon. You're not trying to just immediately just like blaze to the end, dealing as much damage as you can. You're kind of going at a steady pace. When Global, I don't know if you played the stage 40 in Global, when we had, what was it, Act 2, Chapter 1, and there was a glitch stage. It had these like 3 knight bosses. They're on horses, and their HP was glitched. Instead of having, I think it was 50,000 HP apiece, they had 500,000 or something crazy. And all of the comps I saw that beat that stage, because this is when we were completely woefully inadequately prepared. Where, like, I beat the stage myself, and I ran Ferris, I ran Ramza, and I ran Beatrix. And Ferris and Ramza are just, like, long game characters, Ferris blankets everyone with debuffs. Ramza can just go. Dude is nuts. He can just go with that EX. And then Beatrix at the time was my strongest unit. So it's very important to note that Rinoa, longevity-wise, can just go. She's like Ramza. She can just go and go and go. So she definitely has that heads up on Golbez. I think their damage is pretty comparable. You said that Golbez has higher potencies, which is true. But, Rinoa isn't very far behind at all. And, all things considered, I think Rinoa in a longer fight is definitely the go-to option.
Definitely. And if you take a look at the buffs that she gives to herself, first of all, if you have that EX weapon, 2 out of 3 limit broken, for 8 turns, she grants herself 60% attack up and 60% max brave up. That's like a Saw's, attack boost on steroids, because that's lasting you 8 turns, that's pretty significant. Not to mention her Angel Wing stance already increases her own attack by 80% and then her max brave by 60%. So if you think about it, her attack, provided that you have all of these resources on her, 140% attack up and max brave up 120%. Yeah, that's a pretty significant increase in overall damage, and not to mention her longevity, like we talked about.
No doubt. And when we were talking about party comps earlier, something I just was thinking of that we didn't mention, she fits in really well with aura characters as well. Aura characters that boost that max brave and that attack, because Rinoa, she has a huge overflow limit on the HP attack plus, but extra max brave space, extra attack space, you can really make her into this. I mean, she's the purest definition of a glass cannon I think I've ever seen in a game, where you can make her start dishing out absolutely incredible amounts of damage. And so if you pair her with the right units, then you're gonna be looking at some silly numbers. But I wanted to ask you, 40, because you've used Rinoa quite a bit in JP. I've had a lot of players ask me, okay, I've looked at her, I've looked at her kit, I've looked at her EX. How dependent is she on that EX? Because that EX does supply an extra Angel Wing stance change every time it's used. So in your opinion, using her, how essential do you think that EX is?
I would say it's essential if you want to really maximize her for long fights, because we're coming up to the Cosmos era, and Cosmos bosses will have higher defense, they will have much higher HP, and they will be dealing you more damage. So because of that, you're going to want it if you're going to be taking Rinoa to Cosmos difficulty fights. So if you plan on using Rinoa for Cosmos, which I highly recommend that you do, you're going to want the EX. Without the EX, what does she have? What is she going to be She's going to be missing out on. So she's going to be missing out on a EX ability that has 1080 brave damage potency, which is nuts. Okay, she's going to be missing out on that attack up 60% and max brave up 60% for 8 turns. So it does significantly lower her damage potential, and not to top it off, you're going to be missing out on an ability that actually brings her into her Angel Wing stance without actually having to use Angel Wings, because Angel Wings in itself, it does not have a lot of uses because of just how powerful it makes her, and it rightfully so, because if she had so many uses on Angel Wings, then the character would be busted. So having the EX would allow her to have the longevity needed for Cosmos, and also be able to grant her the ability to go into Angel Wings without having to rely on the actual ability itself. So then that way you could save Angel Wings and, just wait to build up the EX. What I will say though is her EX is pretty slow, which is why we were saying earlier it's probably good to have like a healer to support her, because, especially in some certain chaos fights, it can become a DPS race. So you just want to keep that in mind. But definitely, I would say she is pretty EX reliant, but she's okay without it. She can still dish out the massive amounts of damage that she can. Like, she doesn't lose out on the overflow with her HP attack plus and Angel Wings if you don't have the EX. She still has access to those pretty powerful potencies. It's just you're just going to be missing out, on a really powerful ability and another way to go into her Angel Wings.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree pretty much with everything you've said, just by all the research I've done in her kit. I think without the EX, you're looking at a character that can absolutely reliably help you in the level 100 EX stages that we're getting now, those types of stages. She's also a phenomenal trash clearer. So if you don't have a reliable farmer like, say, Setzer or Squall, then Rinoa can, and nice thing about Rinoa are her animations are extremely short, so I know all my hoarding bros out there unite. We pop those books and we're just going as fast as we can, right? Trying to get all those resources as fast as we can. And her animations are really short. You pop Angel Wings, she kind of does her animation, and then past that, she raises her hand and everything gets turned to ash, right? So the EX makes her Cosmos viable. The EX makes her viable for the future moving forward. Without the EX, she's still very usable, but don't count on trying to bring her to Cosmos, because she'll just tuck her out. She really needs that extra attack and max brave that she's given herself. Yeah, that 1080% potency, that's absolutely no joke right now in terms of an ability. So yeah, the EX is really phenomenal. It's slow, but man, when you fire that thing off, especially on a single boss, it's just HP be gone, it's crazy. But with all that said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Rinoa, or so people would have you believe, 40. So let's talk about real quick the concerns on her future viability. So EX Plus era is in JP right now, if you guys didn't know. It's basically an era where you can awaken. It's basically awakening an EX weapon with an item, and then you can then limit break the EX again, and it makes the EXs do significantly more damage, or it'll add some incredibly potent buffs, etc. and so forth. So we're looking at Rinoa Zx Plus. A lot of people were disappointed, and there's the myth going around that because her EX Plus isn't busted and broken to high hell like a lot of people were hoping, that she's not worth the investment. So at this point, I can't really comment because I don't play JP. 40, this is all you, man. So try and set the record straight, please.
Okay. So yes, there is this thing going on about Rinoa's EX Plus being so disappointing that you shouldn't pull for her upon her initial release because, quote unquote, she is not, she's not going to be that great during the level 70 era. The thing about that is that let's take a look at what the character already does. She's already powerful on her own. Okay, she is already powerful with her base EX ability even after EX Plus. What does her EX Plus give her? So her EX Plus essentially gets a higher Brave potency. She gets a higher max Brave overflow limit, and then her Brave is raised by 30% of every HP damage she deals after every HP attack, except for the last one. So Rinoa's ability essentially deals 3 HP attacks. So for every HP damage she deals, she's replenishing her Brave. And to top it off, with her EX Plus fully max limit broken, you can actually use this ability right off the bat, which is pretty cool. It's pretty powerful, right? So yes, it's not as good as some of the other crazy EX Pluses that we've seen. For example, Golbez's EX Plus is actually crazy good. It's actually better than Rinoa's. But most of the bosses that we've come across in JP that are Chaos, it's usually just one boss. Sometimes there's 2. And I know one of the disappointments with this EX Plus is that the hits are dispersed. They're still gonna get hit. They're still gonna take that massive amount of damage. Rinoa is still gonna do her job of being that glass cannon. So I think it's very shallow to judge her now based on something that she gets that may not be as spectacular, but 8 months from now, it's like, I said this before in a podcast that I was in, but, basing your pulls on a character now because, they may not be as desirable later on. It's like saying, I'm never gonna buy the Nintendo Switch because Nintendo is gonna release the Nintendo Switch 2005 in the year 2027. It's like, okay, well, I think that's a really poor way to judge whether you're going to be pulling for this character or not, So might as well just never pull for any character if you're going to base it on that, you know what I mean? If you're basing it on something that we don't get until way later on. It's not like we're getting Rinoa's EX Plus, tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do, and I agree. Like, people that follow my channel know that I hoard. Don't ever really spend on banners, and if ideally, if I just wanted to hoard all the time, I would just never draw, right? And at that point, you're not even playing a game. You're just kind of just sitting there and being like, okay, man, when this character debuts in 4 months, I'm gonna hit that character and I'm set for the next 8. I don't think that's a good way to play the game. Rinoa, her EX Plus is disappointing in the sense, like we mentioned, that it's not game busting. And one thing I will say that I am disappointed about with it is that the AoE hits are randomly still dispersed. That is pretty bad, pretty disappointing. But again, it's not terrible. It's not a bad EX Plus. The Brave gains that she gets after HP attacks can be pretty sizable, so she can still melt HP. So I would highly discourage players from looking at that and saying, oh, well, she's not future-proof. And in 9 or 10 months, she's not going to be usable, so I'll just skip her. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's a pretty flawed way to look at it, because you're also discounting what she's going to do for you in those 8 or 9 or 10 months leading up to that point, because we're not there yet. We're not at Chaos stages. We're not even at Cosmos yet. We're at the era right before Cosmos, and Rinoa is the Cosmos Queen. I mean, she and Lena are just nuts together and can really wreck face. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%, 40. At some point, you just have to stop analyzing the future and planning and just kind of go. Units that you like or units interesting. Let's roll with them,
No, yeah, definitely. To touch up on that, when you look at the City Opera Omnia, right? It's a game that brings together pretty much like the whole slew of cast from every Final Fantasy, right? The game is meant for enjoyment. It's meant as a nostalgic game, especially for those of us that have played Final Fantasy since the beginning. Why not enjoy the game for what it is instead of constantly looking forward to the future of the game because we have the JP version of it who happens to be you know, close to a year ahead of it, you know, but just enjoy the game for what it is. And the problem with, you know, planning for a character 9 months ahead of their future, it just makes you not enjoy the character. Like, I know a lot of people that are looking forward to Rinoa and they're kind of doubting whether they should pull on her, and I told them, like, dude, just do it, because she's going to be really powerful when she first comes out. Who cares if she's not as great when, you know, they bring back her EX weapon and they give her EX Plus? She's still a really good character, and if that's your waifu and if that's your favorite, then you pull for that character, because you're going to enjoy this game a whole lot more rather than regretting it later on. And you're like, oh, I should have pulled for Rinoa, but I didn't, because I'm waiting for this version of her, you know?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I can attest to that. When Lightning's banner came around, I mean, Lightning, she's in my waifu list. She's number 2. Riku from Final Fantasy X being number 1, of course. But Lightning is my number 2, and I knew when her EX was coming, I was gonna, if I had to go, you know, 500 tickets in the banner, and then I had to mercy it, you know, so be it. And I know that she drops off. I mean, I've used her several times in recent events. And it was the Golbez event in particular, I remember vividly, where I used her EX, and this is with her having, her huge attack buff on her, and I'm hitting the boss for 1100 damage a hit, you know, and I'm sitting there in the video like, oh no, looks like power creep wins again, but at the same time, it's so fun playing as my favorites and not using, polygon count number 16 over here that has a higher attack and is more usable. You know, like, I really like using Agrios. I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics, but I really like using her. But I can tell you, just from experience, I love using Lightning more, just because I have that nostalgia and that attachment to her. So yeah, I completely agree. If she's a waifu, if she's someone you're interested in, you know, it's in a gacha game, resources are always limited, but at the same time, we're all playing to have fun. And if you're not having fun playing a game, then why are you? So I think it's very, very, very important you pull on your favorites and to kind of follow your gut and follow your heart. And it sounds cliche, right? It sounds cheesy, but you know, we're here to have fun. So do what you think is fun.
Definitely, and Final Fantasy is all about fun. So, what's our next point here to talk about Rinoa, my bro?
Okay, so now that we've touched upon the concerns about that future viability, I think we need to come to the all-important question of, are we drawing? I know that's something that you definitely like to do in your videos, 40. In my videos, I typically will do a point where I say, okay, so if you don't want to know my opinions on if I'm drawing, then, you know, go ahead and back out now. Thank you for watching, etc. Because I'm kind of prominent in the community now. Not to toot my own horn, I really don't think I am, but a lot of people are interested in what I do, and I'm not really interested in dictating what the community does, because again, I want people to have fun, and I want people to chase their favorites. And a lot of people, when they look at my resource count, I always have, you know, a couple people, especially during streams, I'll have a dozen people ask me, what's the next banner you're going for, or what character you're gunning for? And I'm always pretty hesitant to talk about it, because I don't want to sway people, because we all have different experiences. You know, my first Final Fantasy X, a lot of people's first Final Fantasies were 7 or 6 or 5 or, you know, whatever. And I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm skipping Kuja and Golbez because Rinoa's coming, and then people are like, oh, well, okay, well, if he's skipping Kuja and he's skipping Golbez, then maybe I should just skip them too, you know? So I think we'll do that right here. If you guys want to go ahead and back out right now and not hear what we're doing, then please, by all means, and thank you very, very, very much for watching. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to filter out, and then we'll continue on. But okay, so everyone that's still here, hello again. And so here we are. Are we drawing? 40, I will let you go ahead first. You are, you're the prominent one here, you're the guest, and I just really want to hear what you have to say, so by all means, sir.
So right now, and this is coming from where I'm at with my global account, didn't pull Golbez EX, really sad face about that. Didn't have currently yet to pull Lena's EX. I'm waiting for the summer event part 2 to come out. But if I take a look at Rinoa and I take a look at what we currently can draw on, my priority goes to Lena, because Lena is support. Lena just gives so much utility. Lena will last you throughout to the end of Cosmos, into the early parts of Chaos. Yes, she is usable in the early parts of Chaos. I have seen her used just because of how good her utility is. When I look at Rinoa, she's extremely powerful. Should you pull for her? Absolutely, especially if you're a character, a player that has held on to their resources and you have the resources to spend. Yeah, she's amazing. The thing about Rinoa is that she is a damage dealing unit. Same thing with Golbez. Same thing with Kuja. They're like the king of the damage dealing units right now, right? In the global version of the game. For me, if I have one or two of them with their full gear all decked out, it's probably okay to pass on one of them, okay? And prioritize drawing for a character such as Lena, which is a very powerful support character, because the thing with me is that I still want to be able to clear these upcoming hard EX stages, these upcoming hard heretic stages, these upcoming hard future content such as raids, which we don't have yet in global, but it's going to be very exciting once we get those. And you want to have these characters who can essentially carry your party and be able to keep your party alive. So for me, it's more important where I'm at in my current Opera Omnia journey on global to prioritize support. But yes, I will be throwing some resources into Rinoa. I am looking forward to her coming out, and if I do get her EX and I get her full kit, then hallelujah, then hopefully Lena will bless me too, and I'll be set for a bit, and then that way I can start saving up until when we hit the level 70 era and we get the first reworks for level 70. So that's how I'm approaching it. But then again, like what Soul said, and like what I always say in all my videos, if a character comes out and they're your waifu, they're your husbando, they're from your favorite Final Fantasy, such as for me, Golbez is from my favorite Final Fantasy, which is Final Fantasy IV, then pull, because the most important thing about playing this game, especially because it's a gacha game and it encompasses all of these characters from Final Fantasy, is you're having fun. And you want to have fun, because if you're not having fun, then there's really no reason to be playing this game if you're not having fun.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Yeah, it's just have fun. That's you want to sum the game up and how to best tackle it. That would be my advice to anybody. Just have fun and do what you think is fun. For me, Rinoa is, I'm not going to say she's a must pull for everyone, but for me, looking at my roster, she's a must pull, and here's why. So DPS are more or less, or in this game, I guess they'd be DPD, damage per turn. They're more or less a dime a dozen, right? They're the first kind of characters that can be reliably replaced, because damage is very easily visualized. If let's say Kuja can do 30,000 damage a hit, but then Rinoa comes along and she can do 40,000 damage, a turn, 40,000 damage a turn. There's a very clear power gap, right? You're very able easily to see the visual difference. With support characters, like let's say Lena, they can go and go and go, and they're harder to replace because they have different mechanics. DPS, DPTs, they have different mechanics, but their main focus is just melt HP, make those big red numbers pop up above the enemy, and kill them quick. Whereas, supports, they all kind of do a little bit different thing. So I would highly recommend, before you draw on this banner, to look at your roster and ask yourself, okay, do I have Kuja full MLB? Do I have Golbez full MLB? And if you have both of them, then I definitely think Rinoa is a skip for you, because there is some overlap. And like 40 said earlier, using two of them together in the same party is pretty viable. But if you try and use all three, you're definitely going to run into massive issues. Like, you have to always kind of run a support or a healer or something like that, or a tank. So I would highly recommend not just going crazy on this banner just because of hype. Take a clear, logical look at your roster. Do you need an AoE magic damage dealer? Do you need a Dark Knight kind of character where she's amazing, but she has to be handled safely? Because if you just try and just plug her in, she's going to keep draining her HP, and you're going to have to keep switching back to Angelo form to recover HP, and then at that point, you're really not using her to the best of her ability. So I'd highly recommend people looking at that. With all that said, looking at my roster, I am in horrible need of the kind of damage that Rinoa can provide. I don't have a reliable AoE magic attacker. My best one is probably Beatrix, and as great as Beatrix has been for global, she has slipped. She's not as prominent as she used to be due to the 9 total buffs across the party for her plus versions. It's getting harder to keep that up, and her damage has slipped. So I really need Rinoa kind of in the worst way. I skipped Kuja. The more as time went on, I just kind of became disinterested in his kit and disinterested with the character because I played 9 and Kuja just kind of came off as this flamboyant guy, and I was like, okay, I'm not really sure I like this guy. So I skipped him. And Golbez, I love Golbez's armor, but I've never played Final Fantasy IV, and I had no idea really who the guy was. So when his event came and he was revealed to be a character completely different from what I thought, I was like, oh wow, that was really interesting, but I don't really know the character. Rinoa is a character that I played 8 growing up. I've played and completed 8 twice in my lifetime, and I remember her pretty vividly, her rules in the game, and so she's kind of nostalgic in a way. And so I kind of made Rinoa my pick because I don't like to overlap too much. That's just me personally. Like, I didn't want to go ham on Golbez's banner, not really knowing who the guy was, having dropped a bunch of resources, have to go ham then 2 weeks later Rinoa. So me personally, I elected to skip Kuja and I elected to skip Golbez. So I'm gonna hit Rinoa, and then yeah, hopefully the banner treats me well. I think she's a terrific character, but you know, you look at your roster, just kind of go from there and block out the noise and block out the hype and make a logical decision.
Definitely, I totally agree with you on that. You know, look at your roster, like what Soul said, and just base your pulls on that. Base it on your needs, and most of all, have fun, because that's what DFFOO is all about. But anything else that we want to add to this collaboration? Again, this has been really fun, Soul. I really appreciate you having me, you know, on your channel to be able to talk about this awesome upcoming character.
You know, not really. So a little bit of fourth wall breaking, guys. So me and 40 were sitting here, kind of not really rehearsing, but we were discussing points we wanted to talk about before we started recording. And and you know, one of the things he said to me was, you know, let's just have fun and let's just do this our way. And I'm so pleased with how this turned out. I really feel like, you know, we did have fun with it, and I feel like we were very fair in our evaluations as well. I feel like we addressed strengths, and I feel like we really addressed some as well, and we kind of have looked at her in a fair light. You know, she is great, but she does have her limits. So I just want to say, 40, when I started my channel, you have been an inspiration almost from day one. I found Met's Play first, just completely by random, and then going off him, then I started seeing other videos by other content creators, my recommended feed, and then that's how I found you. And yeah, guys, I'm happy to report that that 40, hopefully, he's probably gonna be blushing in a second, that's okay. He is as nice of a guy on camera as he is off. From day one, when we first started talking, kind of blew me away with how humble he is. And you know, he's a good guy. He loves his family. He's good to his friend. You really can't. So I am so humbled and grateful for your participation here, man. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. I'd like to give you the opportunity to go ahead and plug some social media stuff that you want to plug or anything like that, because I do want people to know who you are and find your stuff if they don't already.
Wow, so that's probably a lot more words than I deserve, but thank you so much for having me on your channel again. Yeah, guys, Soul is another content creator that, you know, even though I'm a DFFOO content creator, I'm always out there, you know, looking for others that do what I do, because, you know, I draw inspiration from others as well, and at the same time it helps build the community. And Soul was one of those guys, and I could tell by the first few videos that I watched, this guy was very passionate. You know, he had the heart to help the community, and you know, like I said, I'm very grateful to be a part of this collaboration with him, and hopefully we can do more. He is an amazing guy as well, you know, very kind, very caring. He also is a fellow father like I am, so he has given me some parental tips already, which I'm super grateful for, because I'm a parenting together. Yeah. So, but yeah, again, guys, be sure to check us out. This video will be on Soul's channel. It's not going to be on mine. I specifically wanted it to be on his channel. But the links to all of our social media will be there: Twitter, Discord, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever the two of us use. So be sure to check us out, show some love, and also overall, you know, show love to the DFFOO community, because it's a game that has brought a lot of people together due to our love for Final Fantasy, and we just want to keep it going. We want to keep it going strong.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You know, we are two of the more, I guess, prominent channels. Again, I'm tooting my horn. I sound like just this narcissistic ass. I'm sorry, people. I'm really not trying to sound like it, but my point is, you know, me and 40 are somewhat, well, I'm somewhat, he's very prominent in the community, but my point is, you know, show love to the smaller channels as well. Something me and 40 like to do is we'll go to channels making content. Sometimes we'll just drop them a comment like, hey, you know, good work, keep it up. Because for me personally, that's how 40, I mean, I had like 30 subs at the time, and I made a video and had like 100 views. And then here comes 40 riding in, you know, with a Superman cape on. He's like, hey man, you're doing great. Keep the community going strong. And I still vividly remember that to this day. So yeah, the community is terrific, and there's a lot of wonderful people here, and I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. So just show love to the community, guys. You know, there's always going to be doubters. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be people say that what you're doing isn't good, or you're a copycat, or whatever. But you know, drown the hate out and do what you love and show love, because, you know, we're all here to have fun. We're playing a game about characters in a world where there's eternal war and strife because, you know, bad guys and monsters exist. You know, like we're here to have fun. Just have fun. But yeah, I guess that's it. So like 40 said, in the description below, I will have links to everything down there, everything related to me, everything related to him. And yeah, guys, we just want to thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm so humbled by 40's inclusion here, and I hope you guys enjoyed. 40, do you have any last words, or?
Let's just keep going strong, you know. DFFOO, again, brings people together, and get ready for Rinoa. She's going to be a very fun character, a very hyped character, a very powerful character. So again, thank you to Soul DFFOO for putting this together. Hopefully you guys found a lot of help in watching this video, and the two of us giving our evaluation for this character.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that said, guys, you know, as I always say, thank you so much for watching. And Em and I both, we will see you guys in the next video very soon. Until then, take care, all of you, and yeah, being awesome, guys. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Have a great, blessed rest of the day.